Hi there, and welcome to the I'll Try That podcast. This week, we're very privileged to have our first American guests on the podcast to be talking, or American brewery to be talking about. Please tell me if I'm not pronouncing this. Is it Aslan Beer Company?
Aslan?
Aslin,
No,
sorry,
good.
my bad. So yeah, Aslin Beer Company. As usual, I'm joined by Matthew Barber. Mr. Druitt is on childcare duty today, unfortunately, so he is not joining us. I'm joined by Graham, who is the owner, and Kai. I've already listed all the different jobs he sees to have before we go on to this, but he will explain a little bit more. I'm not going to embarrass myself.
Well, as I'll go back one. You got these guys the wrong way around.
Did I? Sorry,
Yes.
my bad. I'm just going to hand it over to you guys. If you guys introduce yourself. So if you guys like to introduce yourselves.
Oh, yeah, no worries. My name is Kai. I'm one of the co-founders of Aslin Beer Company.
Hi, I'm Graham. I'm kind of special operations director. Been with these guys for 6+ years and done everything from garage selling cans to 5 tap rooms now.
Nice.
Go, Rich. I was going to say five tap rooms. I was saying this is the first time I've heard about you guys because we're UK based, and I believe you guys haven't quite made it over the pond just yet to us. And everything like that. So yeah, digging in. Please just tell us how did you guys start? Where did it all kind of come from? What was the idea to start brewing beer?
Yeah, I mean, the background's not too crazy of a story. When I was a kid, we had a small craft brewery in this little town that I grew up in, and after September 11th, they kind of shuttered. But this idea of like a couple parents getting together and making beer and turning into a career was something that kind of always just like stuck in the back of my mind. And as I journeyed like through my first few jobs, and I picked it up homebrewing as a hobby and was doing it like in my closet. My now brother-in-law and business partner had also been doing it independently. So when we met for one of the first times, it was an easy conversation to have, and started talking a lot about like what were the interesting things we were learning as we got into like our home brew journey. And then it just kind of coalesced into like us living in the same area around the same time. Both kind of decided like, forget the corporate world. Let's try to do this thing, and started brewing in a garage, then eventually like rented a commercial space and decided to like kick everything that we had to our name into like the debt spiral and just jumped at it. We are 10 years later.
Really went after it. And you guys are based in Washington, D.C., is that right?
Yeah, we're in the suburbs of D.C., about 15 miles to the west of the city. So it's an easy commute. There's a bunch of like mass transit that comes in and out. But yeah, that's basically our neighborhood.
And then actually, I understand you've also got spaces in, a couple places, Virginia and Pennsylvania and that sort of area.
Correct. Yeah, we are in Western Pennsylvania in the city of Pittsburgh. We're in Southern Virginia in a city called Virginia Beach. And then kind of sprinkled around the GC suburbs in like 2 or 3 locations, including one inside the city in a neighborhood.
Nice. Kind of get your tendrils out to like spread out through the country, basically.
That's the idea.
Nice. Yeah. So I suppose then I wonder about that again, because again for us in the UK and I guess some of the listeners who, I mean, we have listeners from all over basically, but it's interesting to know how you guys fit in with the craft beer scene over there, and how it sort of developed over the same time that you've been. I suppose it's similarly funny you mentioned those kind of timescales, because I suppose that's the same time we've seen that big explosion in craft beer in the UK.
Yeah. So I think they call it the haze craze here in the U.S. is kind of like definitively the time frame.
I like that.
And I think you guys have that too. Like, there's a handful of breweries that we work with from the area. One that comes to mind is Neon Rockers. Those guys came over and did a collab with us a handful of years ago. Kind of like, I think it was pre-COVID, before the shutdowns here in the United States. And I think they continued to grow. I think they're the same kind of what we call like a brewer's class, right? Like if we imagine ourselves as like a secondary graduate, everyone that's kind of tied to it, just ahead of us in like that initial wave of people would be like the other half and Trillium. We opened in 2015, which is like right at the beginning of the haze craze. One of the first breweries in the Virginia / Mid-Atlantic area doing those kinds of things. And I think that's really helped their success is we were in this group of brewers doing this interesting thing that kind of became extremely popular, whether it be nationally or internationally, and kind of built our reputation around this one product type that dominated and still seems to be the dominant factor. It's definitely part of everybody's portfolio. If you open a brew up today, you're expected to make like this hazy IPA, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Not going away. Not going anywhere.
Not
Least for
going
the
anywhere
time being.
quickly. So you said you started out in your garage, which seems to be it's either a garage or a basement. Seems to be a lot of where a lot of the brewers we talk to seem to start from. So were you always doing hazy, or were you kind of sticking to maybe like the IPAs and all that sort of stuff to start with, or was hazy's always kind of been there?
Yeah, it's interesting enough. Like, yes and no. So when Drew and I first started brewing together, at the time he was working abroad in London, and he brought home a JW Leeds beer, and like it was using London Ale 3, which was like, I guess, a thing that we weren't aware of at the time. The only brewery that was using kind of like that London Ale 3 yeast would have been probably the Alchemist here in Vermont. The Kimmage family, they're famous for Hetty's Hopper for a couple years, and you're aware of it. So you brought this beer home, and we were like, oh my God, this is something super interesting. So we started homebrewing with it like right away. And that kind of became this staple product that is now our Starfish. So that started out as like a homebrew and like worked its way, was renamed a handful of times. And like Orange Starfish is now like one of our primary products. It's been leading our portfolio at the moment.
Oh, nice. So how much were you brewing when you were in your garage before you had to expand?
Probably way too much for a garage, I think. I mean, here we're doing them in gallons, so I'm sorry I can't do the conversion in my head, but about we're doing 5-gallon batches, and we were probably doing 2 or 3 of those a week, and it got to the point where it was like, all right, we should probably either stop doing this or figure out who's going to be drinking all of this beer.
I know you're not supposed to have a personal favorite, guy, but is there one? And I suppose Graham, for you as well, is there a favorite personal beer from the collection? Anything and from any new releases or anything like that?
Favorite for me,
Putting you on the spot as well.
yeah, that's really on the spot. We've done so. I mean, with so many. I'd probably say the Esperante, the Mexican style lager we do, is kind of my favorite. It just hits the spot, and it's good kind of any time of the year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my favorite is the Mexican style lager.
That's awesome. I'm going to give you guys 2 products that like are just not accessible because they were just complete surprises. We also run like a small barrel aging program just for fun, and one of those products was kind of completely forgotten, and it was a bourbon barrel-aged beer that we secondary racked into a peach brandy barrel. And we actually just won bronze with it at the World Beer Cup this year, called the Afterlife Elixir. It was amazing, and it's like one of those products we'll never be able to replicate again. I'm super proud of it. And and because it was one of those things, like I said, we just forgot we had this barrel. And then the second one, actually, similar situation. Rand actually helped me with it. We picked this barrel together, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and bottled it under the name Sheffield, and it was a wheat wine that was barrel aged. It was essentially, now we just call it a barley wine to make it easy for people to understand, but it was delicious. It was amazing.
What percentages? Because we tried a bourbon based one that it was limited edition, cost us like £40 for one bowl, and that was at like 30%, I think it was. Is that similar?
Yeah, maybe not that
what,
big.
to what it was?
I think the one that won the World Beer Cup was like 14.5%. I think Sheffield was somewhere around 13.5 or 14%.
Yeah, so you can actually survive those ones.
Yeah,
yeah, there was yeah. Yeah, we were actually sitting there with a shot glass of it because we just couldn't do any more. It was fun. It was kicking our ass. But that was after also a whole day of recording as well. We'd done about 6 or 7 days at that point, and it was
wasn't the
sitting
time
well.
to start on that stuff.
No. So I was having a peruse of your website, and your beers seem right up my street. Matt is much more of a traditional beer man himself. I don't know if you've ever tried Timothy Taylor's. It's kind of you kind of drink it warm in a pub. and
The
stuff like
traditional
that.
nut brown ale is the type of thing that is turning into a strange little rivalry that Rich has. He also pins me up as not being even remotely open minded about any other beers as well.
That's all
But
right.
I mean, you love the experimental stuff, don't you, Rich?
Yeah, so I was going to say, what's been your most experimental beer apart from the ones you've just mentioned about your
Banana.
barrel? You've forgotten barrel aged beers, but what's I'm just looking at some of the names and I think they're fantastic. But what has been your most kind of out there outrageous thing you've
Oh
created?
man, that's crazy because for our 10th anniversary, which was last Saturday, we just did this whole entire series of beers. We did 40 something beers that we called the alternate realities. And what we did was reached out to any brewery we had ever worked with on any kind of collaborative element, said, hey, if you could take one of the beers from our standard portfolio and just turn it into some crazy shit, what would it be? And like, we made beer that tasted like ranch dressing, barbecue flavoring, I don't know. And like, just, it was wild, dude. And it took us maybe like a month or so performing different variable bench tops of all these different things to understand like what elements in the original product, like let's just talk about ranch dressing for a second. Like, there's there's milk solids in that thing. There's like dill
Oh,
and
I
chive.
can't think of anything
Yeah,
worse.
exactly. And like, you're like, oh my God, this is going to be totally shit. Like, this is going to be the most disgusting beer I've ever had in my life. And so, like, yes, if you take ranch dressing and put it in a beer or ranch powder and add that, it's fucking gross. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. But if you like take the elements that generally people consider ranch flavoring, like dill and chive and, whatever else goes into it, and you do them in the right increments, the beer is actually palatable and fairly enjoyable.
No, it was still terrible. It was still terrible.
I like
The
that.
pizza
Guys are
flavoring
clearly
one
not
wasn't
afraid
bad.
to roll the dice
Oh
there.
yeah, we did pizza flavor
Okay.
goldfish. That was pretty good. That actually tasted
Yeah.
tangy. Yeah, that's gross.
Pizza flavored goldfish.
Yeah, so that'd be
all on their own words I am familiar with,
Oh,
but
right.
just not in that combination.
Oh, let me think of that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess if you think of can't think of them now. What are them cheese crackers? The
Oh, yeah.
little nipples you guys get there.
Yes. Sorry,
yes,
I'm with you now.
My mind is absolutely blanking. You throw them in a kid's lunch and whatever. Yeah, so they're like a old pizza Pringles, like the flavoring of those on a cracker, and that was in the beer. That one that was all right. The oregano worked all right with the beer. But yeah, there was some wild ones. There was some.
Greg came up with a bunch of crazy crap that he put on this list that like myself, the other brewers, and our lab operator were like tasked with putting together. So
Yeah.
That planning session, obviously, the instruction was no wrong answers. Just
Oh, there were wrong
Get-
answers.
bring
We
it
just
all
did
out.
it anyway.
we'll go.
Ranch wasn't wrong. Yeah,
I can just I
We've
Yeah,
we've
I can
definitely
just-
had
I
a
can
lot of
just see
wrong
the
answers through
whiteboard.
the years. We just do it.
sure.
why that?
Yeah. So what's been your biggest miss you think you've brewed? Like ranch sounds like your biggest miss to me, but apparently not. Has there been something that you've brewed and you've gone, no, this has not worked?
Those smoothie beers didn't work good there.
Yeah. Those were pretty gross. Yeah, that
Um,
gross.
No. Yeah, they were bad. I mean, these were mass. I mean, the stuff we did last weekend was was 5 gallons worth of beer. The smoothie beer was, 45 barrels. Yeah, that did not work out. That did not work out.
Was it the consistency of a smoothie?
Yeah.
Was that? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
The thing is, you got to dare to dream, though. They could, if it had come off, you could
gonna
have
do it again.
did something no one else
This
had.
time with carrot
Yeah.
juice. Don't worry, it'll be totally healthy and everyone will love it. All right.
Yeah. Well, as we've spoken to a few brands in the UK who are aiming for the health beer market because the salsa market is slowly creeping in over here, sort of thing. So we finally got what's the one that's really popular?
A White Claw?
White
Ugh.
Claw. Yeah, so White Claw's kind of come over
Jeez.
here. I think there's those YouTubers, the Happy Dads.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah.
is as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's creeping in. But there's a lot more health beer sort of thing. So I could see the smoothie beer once you've done your workout or Probably not so much for breakfast. I wouldn't want to. Oh, I don't know. Depends if it's my day off. I could.
Yeah. Well, look, if you guys know any brewers that want to make a competitive seltzer, have them reach out to me because I'll give them the background on how to do it well and how to keep your calorie count low so that you can appeal to your customers.
Okay. Yeah. I see. I do. I tell you, what, I do like a seltzer at a festival, but I don't like it any other time. That's probably about it. But so we got we believe you guys have been doing some non-alc as
Yep.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that I've got it written down here. Is it the chillest THC fake brewski? Is that correct?
Yeah. So we have so
Yeah.
many product lines. All right. So besides being a brewery, like being have a wine license, so we can do wine and cider. It's the different category here in the U.S. We have a spirits license. We can do spirits. We started messing around with non-alcoholic beers during COVID. We use like a filtration process to basically take a fully fermented beer, an alcoholic beer. We strip it down into 2 parts. 1 part being the seltzer base, which has the alcohol in another part, essentially being like the non-alcoholic leftover shit that most people would throw away. We'll add deaerated water back to the second part and essentially create non-alcoholic products that are water mixed. That was like not a popular. It like definitely works for an option in a tasting room. Like say you're the designated driver or you're on a health kick, you're on a diet, whatever. That works. It has its place, and they're actually pretty decent. Some were like, well, how else can we take advantage of the opportunities that we have as a rub manufacturer? And the United States has been like changing their laws state by state, kind of alleviating some of like the old world regulation around cannabis. And so the simplest way to do this is like, well, how do we put cannabis extract into a beer so that we're getting kind of like these same effect or a lighter effect of what it could be like to have and be intoxicated on THC or CBD or whatever the compounds might be. And we happen to find like a local producer that had qualified extract because every state has their own regulation, and you'll be using it in a beer like product that we're calling wax, and it's called a brewski because of the state regulations. You can't actually call it a beer, and like the labeling laws or whatever. But yeah, it's actually really good, and like a lot of the products replicate our portfolio. So like if you're looking at them, like one's a dragon fruit passion sour. So that would fit like in the same lines as our volcano sauce family, which is our standard portfolio sour, and has 2 milligrams of THC and 2 milligrams of CBD. So that's the requirement by our state as the maximum. They have to be in balance with each other correctly. But it's like it replicates having like a 4% beer pretty well. You can sit there and session then you can have like 1, 2, 3, and you probably just as good as the same amount, and that lowers like water stock as or lower ADD.
I find it absolutely fascinating because over here, like CBD, so like has only just become legal, sort of thing, and that's just the CBD oil, and that's mainly for medicational benefits, sort of thing, for joint pains, arthritis, and everything like that. So like a THC based beer, the only time we've ever experienced some of those was when we went to Amsterdam, where it's completely legal, everywhere and anywhere, sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a really interesting concept, and we think the way it seems to be going, we think it will become more legal in the UK, but we think we're still 5-10 years off anything like that, just because of the medical side of it. I think is where they're pushing. But yeah, I think that sounds great. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, it sounds like just get a nice mellow buzz. Sounds absolutely lovely.
It is nice.
There's a few others in the market as well. Actually, I don't think it is THC, is it? But there's the that one that's Imposter Brew it seems to be gaining a bit of popularity over here. But
yeah.
from anecdotal evidence of people I know who've had that non-out version, have gone not quite.
It's
Not
not quite
hitting the mark really.
Yeah, it's definitely a non-alcoholic trend here in the U.S. At least for the last year, maybe 24 months. There's a huge brand in our state called Athletic. And it's 100% about non-alcoholic product. But like most consumers who are probably beer nerds that might be transitioning from being alcohol consuming to being health conscious and maybe regulating or not consuming alcohol anymore, the critiques of it are basically like, it's close that it isn't beer, right? And there are elements of it that are not as enjoyable. And I think there's definitely some time and effort that needs to be put into like creating a product that is very much a direct replacement, and there's a lot more work to be done.
That's what we found in the UK. The non-alcoholic scene has exploded probably in the last 5 years. There are some absolutely stunners, and there is some absolutely abysmal, not to name names, Budweisers. But we try on this podcast. We've tried pretty much everything and anything, and it was horrific. But yeah, it is good to see, because sometimes you don't want a beer, which isn't a phrase I say often.
I
But
think
yeah,
the thing we noticed, I mean, you picked on the particular example there, is just some of those macro breweries who then went, hey, we've been doing a beer for ages, let's make that non-alcoholic and churn that out. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but maybe with not that much thought and time gone into it, at least in terms of the result and the perceived result. But then those brewers that went and says, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make non-alc. Those are the ones that seem to have sort of yielded the best results, really.
Yeah.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
proofs in the pudding kind of thing.
I think
I
outside
think
of
I think
Guinness,
that was meant to
maybe.
be a question somewhere.
The Guinness Zero is
sorry,
good.
yeah,
The Guinness Zero is pretty good.
Yeah, to be fair,
But,
yeah, you can't fault that
yeah,
one.
but
You-
yeah, it seems like the more the lager-based, ale-based ones tend to be the roughest in terms of translation. Yeah, like you said, the Budweiser, the Heineken one, they're just not good. So, yeah, it's finding that right balance is certainly key.
So, so talk to me about your like your designs, your can designs, kind of the
Eye-catching.
themes and stuff that you've eye-catching, vivid. I think
Yeah.
would be another great word for it. So I think I love it. It's absolutely opposite. I don't normally.
It's a big theme
currently
for
I'm
us
dressed
on the
quite
pod
yeah.
as well, isn't it?
It is I'm normally much more colourful, but I'm currently in my work uniform because I've just finished and I've had to get in here, sort of thing. But I'm a bit more colourful. So yeah, I'm a big fan. So where's do you have a specific designer, or has that come from you guys, or something you've built up over time?
Yeah, I mean, we have we work with a graphic designer artist, Michael Van Hol, who's done pretty much all of our designs since year one. And that's everything from kind of taproom decoration to obviously can and label art to really design for our taprooms as well as kind of layout, furniture selection, etc. He contributes to all of that. So kind of, I mean, Kai, you can talk to it a little bit more, but it kind of, we trust him. We come up with the names and we trust him with kind of what design he's going to come up with. And kind of, we may have a few questions back and forth, but for the most part, it's like, here's the name and he's like, here's the art. And we go with that.
That must be great, sort of thing. You guys can concentrate on the beer. If you've got someone, you give them a name and they come up with everything. So you guys have got 5 tap rooms, as you alluded to it. Is it 5? That with what can people expect if we've got some English people came over, sort of thing? What can they expect from visiting your tap room? What's the theme? What's the kind of general atmosphere when you go in, the vibe? Yeah.
So every tap room actually has like kind of a different vibe, different feel. And like the one that we're sitting in right now is kind of like our families with first kids kind of semi-restaurant style environment. And the idea here was like the one that you guys can see behind me is like, this was supposed to be kind of like a futuristic take on like a American diner post World War II. And like, this is a trend in the US is to like take old rail cars and turn them into restaurants and like have breakfast or like early lunches in them. Right. And like, I'm sure people are familiar with that representation. So we did that here with this bar and kind of had this idea of like, well, what if Art Deco was to continue and still be a design factor, how would it happen? So that's what you see behind me. The other building, which is just across the giant patio, is designed more or less to be like a 90s style pizza restaurant. Here in the US, Pizza Hut was like a big thing back in the day. And like after sports, like Little League, T-ball, whatever, the dads would bring all the kids out and have pizza, drink beers from pitchers. And so we were trying to replicate that because we're essentially like in a family style neighborhood here and people can walk to and from the DC location, which is dead smack in the middle of like one of the commercial neighborhoods, meaning like the streets got a lot of retail on it. it's more or less the young crowd. It's like a lot of kids that are either fresh out of college or in their first career, like the first year of their career, and they're going out bar hopping for the night and just having a good time, and maybe are indifferent to craft beer, but realize like there's good quality tasting product at a reasonable price here that's along the route of all the other bars that they're going to. Our Pittsburgh location, it's kind of a combination of those two things because it's in the middle of the sea. It has like a very young crowd. It's also in touristy areas, and we're getting a lot of tourism from people within the I don't know, 2-hour drive of Pittsburgh, or we're a 20-minute walk from a couple of their stadiums. So anyone going to sporting events, yeah, it's pretty nice. And then the rest of the people are just regular locals that are coming to or from work and having a good time and looking for decent food. Virginia Beach is like a different vibe where it's like outdoors, so it's a lot of tourism, vacation families. It's tucked right against the edge of a neighborhood, so it has a steady local crowd, but it's more like a music scene and a skater vibe. So yeah, it's different everywhere we go. And then Alexandria, which is our headquarters, is an industrial space, so you really have to be coming to find us to like enjoy what that space is. It ends up being more of like a private event. If you want to see like how beer is made or like large fermentation tanks, you come stand at the plate glass windows and stare in to the fishbowl and watch the beers whir.
That's really nice to hear that you've kind of tailored each of your tap rooms or to wherever they're kind of situated, which I think's really, really good to see. Because in England, they are predominantly, you have to go and hunt for them in an industrial estate, and they've normally got a shutter, and it's kind of wooden benches, and you see everything. Every kind of tap room is pretty much the same in the UK, sort of thing. That is kind of like you're here for the beer and the beer only, sort of thing. But it's nice that you've got it is, and then you might have some nuts, but that's it, sort of thing. But it's really, really nice that you've kind of incorporated the food. You've picked your aspects. So yeah, I've got just kudos from us. It'd be nice if more breweries were doing that kind of in the UK.
Yeah, the UK is waking up a bit to having some of the food there. But I think particularly for us who are probably, we consider ourselves the beer enthusiasts, the first few times you took your friends to tap rooms and microbreweries and that sort of thing, you would always get everyone saying, "Where on earth are you taking me?" Always
Yeah.
be just somewhere out of the way, behind a train station, in a field, kind of out of the way.
South Bob.
And there's normally one chap with a massive beard. Yeah, there's normally one chap with a massive beard. He normally shouts, "Oh, we only like locals in here," sort of thing. You're like, oh, come on, this isn't how it works. But
But by the time you leave, you're normally pretty happy.
yeah, they are great fun. Don't get us wrong. So how can people find out more about you guys than just kind of searching online? We're like we found you on Instagram now and stuff, but is there we can get more information?
Yeah, I mean, I keep a low profile on social media. Like I'm essentially not on it anymore. But yeah, I would say Instagram, Facebook, our website. That is the best way to keep track of what we're doing or what's going on. Each one of the locations has their own Instagram handles as well. So like if you live closer near one of those locations or you intend to be visiting something like CDC, you can look at just events and happenings for that location instead of just seeing the massive amounts of things that are happening across all 5.
So is there anything coming up in the future for you guys? Anything you're particularly looking forward to that you wanna promote and put out
Yeah,
there?
so we actually, sorry, Nat, go ahead. Oh, okay. We actually just merged with another brewery from New York City that has 2 locations. And really what we're looking to do there is kind of find synergies between the production capacity that Aslin has and the demand that this brewery presents in New York City. So that company is called the Torch and Crown. And they have a location in Soho on Van Dam Street. And they also have like kind of a seasonal pop-up inside of a historic location called Union Square. And we've been making their beer now for about a year, and it just made sense to kind of bring them in. So 2026 is going to be a year of like combining 2 companies, 2 cultures, building new product portfolios and figuring out what works for both companies. So I'm extremely excited to do that. Some of the recipes that I've gotten to peek at from Torch and Crown are extremely interesting and very indicative of like the early 2000s, maybe the kinds of beers that Matt likes, so like Nut Browns and things like that. They need maybe a little more modernization. So that's a fun challenge. And I'm looking forward to like helping the two companies become one integrated product portfolio.
A lot of work, but it sounds like a lot of fun at the same time.
Definitely.
Well, it is really nice because we've got to hear a brewery doing so well, because we have so many breweries in the UK that are shutting down, closing their doors, closing tap rooms and stuff like that. So it's a genuine testament to your beer, sort of thing, into what you guys are doing. To see, it's nice to see a brewery blooming, sort of thing, and kind of really, really going from leaps and bounds and taking over and moving into New York and everything like that. Sounds absolutely stunning. So generally, like, well done
Well,
from
thank
us.
you.
Is really, really impressive.
I attribute it to people like Bram and myself. We're just stubborn and stupid, and like we'll bang our head against the wall until we put a hole in it, and we'll go, "Oh, look, we're successful."
Is that what we did?
I'm
I
pretty
re-
sure it's
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got this question I ask every brewer. Matt probably knows what's coming, sort of thing. I tried my hand at home brewing a few years back, highly unsuccessfully. I thought successfully. Everyone thought highly unsuccessfully, sort of thing. Have you ever done a chili based?
Oh yeah.
Just out of curiosity, like how strong are we talking?
Okay, so this is really fun. We have an entire portfolio that we generally release in the summer, and it comes out in 3 different flavors. It's called El Frutero, and it's based off of like the Paletero man, who's a guy who rides around on a bicycle and will take fruited pops and dip them in like spicy chilies and then wrap them in like chamoy sauce, and you kind of get like a sweet and sour effect. So we made a beer out of it, and we actually just submitted it to the American GADF. And we'll see if we win a medal this year. We'll know next week, actually. So fingers crossed there. But we built off the idea. So how we make that beer is we use habanero. We'll use habanero oils and extracts in the whirlpooling process of the brew. And then later, if we think it needs additional spice, like more capsaicin, we'll add some habanero powder during the packaging process. Plus, it like gives a little glare effect in the beer when you're drinking it, so people can understand like there's something spicy in here. I should be cautious. We took the idea of this and added it to the volcano sauce family for that alternate reality beer, and we made like a direct capsaicin extract, and made probably one of the hottest beers anybody here has ever had. I'm not going to tell you it is the hottest beer in the world yet, but I will be like scaling it up, and I think we'll probably be sending it off to some spice competitions just for the hell of it, and maybe send it out to a lab and get it rated, because it'd be really fun. And got the idea from those crazy Pocky chips. If you guys do this, where like there's the 1 chip challenge. And yeah, that's the idea here. I want to do like a 1 year challenge and put it into like a 6-pack box, and like kind of like ghost pepper roulette, but with beer. Like you and your buddies are going to open this box, have no idea who got the hot can, and then it's going to be, yeah, that's the point here.
This is the best answer I've had to this question that I've asked so many times. So because I'm a big fan of spice. I've entered like chili eating competitions and all of this sort of stuff, and I've done the ghost pepper and all that sort of stuff. So generally, it's exciting. Somebody's taken the chili beer and actually taken it seriously. So that's big kudos from me, and I would love to try it at some point.
Yeah, we're going to figure out how to
Fantastic.
send you guys some of the things we've been talking about, so at least you get a better idea post conversation, like what we were referencing.
Oh, that would be fantastic, because we'd quite happily do another one where we review the beers just between the 3 of us, sort of thing, and have it down. But I can't wait to try some. Just the way you've been talking, you were ticking all of the boxes of what I consider a great brewery and great sounding beer, which is definitely, yeah.
Like,
I'm excited.
I forgot. I just had one more question, which is the question I always ask, which actually I should really have said it kind of towards the start, because it's kind of a little bit more about the profile of you guys. And that's, what's your favorite non-Aslin beer?
Oh, yeah. So, you know,
I mean, that's just an easy
Oh,
question.
I don't
like
have
that,
to
right?
think about that at all. I mean, because it's growing up. It's John Smith Smooth. So
Lovely.
yeah,
Yes.
that it's my dad always makes fun of me. He's like, why aren't you drinking like Speckled Hen or yeah, but no, John Smith Smooth just hit the spot when I was growing up. Like, no fizz, like, and I make fun of these guys all the time when everyone tries to brew a bitter or a mild here, and I'm like, it's too carbonated, it's too fizzy. It's not supposed to be fizzy. It's too cold and it's too fizzy. You guys get it wrong every time.
We made a really good ESD one time, and Graham loved it. That put Oreos in it, and he hated us.
Yeah. We had a fight over that.
We did. We literally were like yelling at her across the room. He's like, "You fucked off this beer. It was so good. Put fucking Oreos in this thing."
Yeah.
ESB in the discussion head. Oreos. Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah. And the Americans just want their sugar, man. I don't give a shit about a beer, you know? Matt, it's a great question. I don't know. Like, what's the scenario here? Like, am I out with my friends and we're like having craft beers, or like, am I just like kicking back in the yard with the kids and just like, relaxing, not trying to think about something? Because like, I'll say something extremely offensive, which is that I like Miller Lite a lot for no particular reason. And like, specifically the Miller brands, they just have an appeal to me for some reason, and very much will I'll shamelessly have a Miller Lite when I'm out. But like, if I'm talking about craft beer, it's tough because I feel like a lot of guys are making some really good stuff, and a lot of the guys from like our quote unquote brewers class make really, really good things. And it's tough to pick one. So, but like recently though, I've been drinking a lot of, in the US here, we have Fiden's, brewing. I've been drinking a lot of Fiden's brewing, and, a lot of Phone. I've been really stoked on what those guys have been doing for the last couple of years, and really enjoy their products.
That's you've covered the bases there. It's kind of whatever scenario, the dream beer drinking scenario. Sometimes it's we want to hear about the guilty pleasures as much as the thing that's getting bought on repeat. So yeah, they nailed it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we'll wrap it up there, guys. But thank you so much for jumping on. I'm assuming you guys have got a full day of work ahead of you now.
Oh yeah, we actually had Oktoberfest today, so we got to bounce around to a handful of locations and knock that out.
Oh, excellent. I was
thinking
that's going on in Germany at the minute.
I've been away and I have not had a fest beer yet.
Yeah.
And I need to remedy that ASAP or a Marzen or something.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I've got 4 Guinness in the fridge for when I finish work in a couple of hours. So that's the
you finish work first.
Yeah, I've got to finish work before the Guinness. But yes, but no, thank you so much for jumping on with us, guys, and I hope the Oktoberfest goes well. And for all our listeners, definitely take these guys a look online, find their Instagram and everything like that. We'll tag it all on our posts and stuff like that. And hopefully you guys can get some. I'm going to try and find. Do you have any distributing in the UK?
We did a few years ago, like during COVID, we were sending shipments. I think the last time we were up there, we went strictly to London. So I'll have to ask around in the office. I haven't seen anything ship out to y'all yet. So, but go back and check, let you know.
No, winner. That would be fantastic, and we'll make sure everybody's aware of it as well.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber, and Simo,
goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com,
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.